the times when we controlled everything, where the officials and the ministers of government of India controlled your freedom to act, your destiny, and your ability to take decisions according to your potential. And we've agreed some years ago, and that's not the way to move forward. We've agreed some years ago that we have to unleash the potential of an average Indian by unshackling him or her of all the constraints and controls that are imposed by government. Perhaps rightly so at one stage in the development of this country, but certainly in the present stage of development, something that is outdated and Jurassic. But while there is a concern about runaway greed, vulgarity and affluence, which almost borders on contempt for those who can barely get their two meals together in a day, the temptation that you take over control once again is a temptation that we have to resist. We resisted this in Satyam. If ever there was an opportunity to get into control, it was when things began to go wrong in Satyam. And we told ourselves that is not the way to go. Satyam must be helped to get back on its feet. There are inherent strengths in Satyam, and we found that its employees and its loyal customer base were its inherent strength. And we knew what the weaknesses were. We knew what had gone wrong. What we needed to do was to find a formula, a solution that would help them help themselves. And that's what we did. We gave them pro bono, outstanding directors who, along with the workforce, a remarkable workforce is Satyam, a little moral help, no financial help from government, little moral help, were able to get back on their feet. And I believe what was a basket case for India 6 to 8 months ago, today can be boasted of as a success story and something to be taught in business schools of how you change. But coming back now to you and the job that you do in the private sector. I said so to some of you just now that we don't see this happen in government. We take decisions in government just as you do in business. We do structures in government just as you must in business. We have to balance conflicting pulls in government as you have to do in business. We have to face upward and downward slides as indeed you have to in business. But we don't seem to have a seamless network of information management and utilizing of that information analytically in the way that you do to give your businesses and your corporates the kind of muscle that they require in decision making. And I think this seems like a massive lacuna. In our own ministry, in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, you're all familiar, that MCA 21 made us take the big jump into the digital world. But MCA 21 still hasn't gone far enough. The second generation will take us much further into greater utility of being able to mine information, of being able to use that information, of being able to put it for value addition purposes, etc. But we still have some faith and some degree of dependence on the Jurassic file with the bow tied on top of it, with confidential stamps all over it. And we really want to move from that to be able to clear files online. And I can say this to you, that we have in principle taken a decision that we will see how we can move forward to a paperless office in the corporate affairs ministry, where files can actually be cleared online without something having to come up to you, carried by chaprasis huffing and puffing from one story to another story. But it's a little bit futuristic, I'm afraid, but we are determined, we are committed to it, we are determined. But I think that's a very small thing. I mean, that's a little bit of attitude a little bit of software, and a little bit of courage. That's all that is needed to take that big step or small step. But I think the real big step will be, the real major step will be to be able to use information in the manner you are using information. You are analyzing information and converting information into a tool of management, into a tool of business, into a tool of decision making. I think that there is a great deal to learn from what you're doing. I'm sure that this, what you have revealed in this brief conversation is but the tip of the iceberg, and I will have to delve deeper into your working methods and your ability to do wonders with information. I do know that all of you obviously have to be computer savvy in the first place, familiar with hardware and software of the highest quality, and then begin to work on information. There are people who do it traditionally, who do it all in the mind, and the standard, old-style, conventional politician used to have this huge supercomputer in the mind and used to do exactly what you do on your computer local networks. But those politicians are difficult to come by, and certainly very, very difficult to replicate and to put on an assembly line. You get once in a while something that works like that. The rest are really clones that are dud clones, so that they look like the rest, but they look like the one that was special, but don't perform quite like that. It reminds me of what Lyndon Johnson used to say about the Vice President of the United States of America. Somebody asked him when he was the Vice President, and what is it to be the Vice President? What is it like to be the Vice President of the U.S.? And you know, he was from the farming community and a little bit rural and in his speech patterns, and he said, well, I think it's like the fifth udder of the cow. It looks like the other four, but it doesn't give any milk. So that's the kind of politicians you can run into once in a while. But if you have systems and you have capability and capacity like you built in your businesses, I think we would have less to worry about. You will always have some fail-safe system to fall back on, and not just keep praying that somebody will come and be a savior. So for the good of the computer, shall we say, computer ki jai, something that our late Prime Minister Rajiv ji had first given to us when many politicians felt threatened by computer ji suddenly arriving. But you know how much we have traveled since then. What a great difference it has made, what a great vision he had to make India a nation of computer savvy people. And today we've acquired a place in the world for many reasons. But one of the reasons is that we do have today the best of software engineers and a huge, huge reputation for being computer savvy. And for you, being part of that very, very wonderful and very enchanting and very, very rewarding enterprise and elite force, my greetings, congratulations, and let me just say to you that it was wonderful that you called me to be with you. Thanks very much.
It's equally wonderful to have you here with us. I would now like to invite Colonel Wahi to come onto the stage and formally thank Mr. Minister for his gracious presence here.
Good evening, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's my proud privilege to thank the Honorable Minister for Corporate Affairs and Independent Charge of Minority Affairs, Government of India, Mr. Salman Khurshid, for his brilliant and illuminating speech on wide-ranging subjects in the corporate governance and corporate world. His thoughts touched many topics of great interest to all of us.